The Bison Basketball Show with NDSU head coaches Dave Richman and Jory Collins. You are watching The Bison Basketball Show on WDAY Extra.
As we dive deeper into the month of November, it means one thing: hoop season is right upon us, and plenty of expectations this year for both the NDSU men and women. And welcome into our Bison Basketball Show. My name is Jeff Culhane. Of course, the head coach David Richman with us to my left. Coach, great to have you. Thanks for coming down. Here we go. Hoop season. I know you and your guys and your entire staff are ready to rock here in 2021, 2022.
I love this time of year, Jeff. You're still getting some crossover with the fall. The season's, it's a beautiful season. I'm a big fan of college football, but for us to be exciting, or us to be starting, firing this up, it's really exciting time of year.
Walk us through, the build up here for your team. You've had, official practice now going back to late September. We had an exhibition game that we're going to discuss last Monday, and a regular season meeting coming up here and weekend right around the corner. What have the last 4 to 5 weeks been like for your team building up for this time?
Well, I heard you mention from the opener, Jeff, expectations are high this year, and expectations are high for us every year inside that locker room. And make no mistake, because of the 8 returners and some new pieces that we have coming in, we're even more excited about some things. But it's all the same. And I know it's cliche, it's not maybe what we want to hear, but it's about us finding little ways to get better every single day. And when you look collectively at this group, we have a lot of length, we have a lot of talent, we have some versatility, we have some depth. Most importantly, we have a lot of character in the locker room, and character that reflects this community, Jeff, and a character that people can get behind and be excited about. And we're excited to start this journey.
Every version of every team is different. As you and I have talked throughout the years, you've got different personalities. You have a lot of returners this year, but people step into different roles and have different types of expectations and responsibilities overall. How would you describe that aspect of it, this version of NDSU basketball, and what you've learned about them here early on this season so far?
Well, again, I think it speaks to the character, in that locker room is they're really tight. And we played 27 games last year, Jeff, and 13 of those games were decided by six or less points, 2 possessions. And so it's really important that you are tough and that you are together. And because of those things, we've given ourselves a chance and put ourselves in a chance to be successful. When you talk specifically about this version, I hope at the end of the day, with just some different pieces, it looks like the blueprint of what's been successful for us, and that's defending the basketball, rebounding the basketball, which I thought we were exceptional at last year. But a real area that we've got to grow in is on the other side of it, and we play both sides of it, and we've got to get better offensively. Last year I believe we were negative 53 when it comes to assist to turnover ratio, and I'm a big defensive guy. You know that, and Bison Nation knows that. But more often than not, your defense starts with your offense, and that's a product of taking better shots, Jeff. That's a product of just taking care of the ball and understanding some things. And our staff has done some good things, I hope, to put us in better situations. And then it's a matter of the guys understanding that and going out and executing.
You'll find more about it. About your team coming up in the next couple of weeks here early on in the season. We saw it a little bit against Minot State in the exhibition game last Monday, but man, and you brought it up, the length, the athleticism. You got a lot of guys that are playing above the rim this year, maybe compared to years past with your basketball team. How do you mix and match some of that stuff? It's got to be kind of fun for you to be creative with some different options that you have out there.
Well, I think you can plan for a lot of things, Jeff, and you want to be perfect when it comes to principle-wise, but that's probably never going to be the case. And the nice thing that we have, and it's a term, we have an eraser on the end of the pencil. And that means when we do make some mistakes, our length can get us back in some plays and challenge some things at the rim. And you're starting to see that. It allows us some versatility on both ends of the floor. And you can talk about that length, Jeff, all you want, but if that length doesn't move, if that length doesn't shoot it, it doesn't matter. Teams aren't going to get out there and guard you. And that's what we're most pleased with. With that length, there comes definitely some versatility to us.
Seeing some of the highlights from the win last Monday over Minot State, exhibition action at the Shack, 85-54. What were your biggest takeaways, Coach? I know it's an exhibition game. You do a lot of things differently in that game than maybe you would do in the regular season. But what'd you find out last Monday?
Yeah, I mean, you've been around us. We kept it pretty vanilla just because, some of these things are going to go out. And I think the biggest thing is as much as we have 8 returning parts, Jeff. We also have some of those parts are still freshmen. Grant Nelson, Bowden Skunberg, Des McKinney, Malik Harden-Hayes being healthy. It's just good to get guys back under the lights. You're seeing quite a bit of highlights here of Andrew Morgan, a young man that we think's got a real chance to be successful. But for him to get under the lights is something different. Willie Guy, a different guy. It's so nice. It's probably a little different for an Andrew Coleman who's been there and done it a lot. But an exciting group, and again, it's just good to get under the lights with the officials, with fans, before we really tip it off here.
Yeah, we saw Andrew Morgan throwing his weight around against some of the upperclassmen from Minot State, and that's a young man who has a bright future. Very excited to see what he is all about. Coming up next on the Bison Basketball Show, the Summit League is very tough once again this year, and plenty of individuals honored from David Richman's basketball squad. We'll take a look at that when we return.
Another rock and roll weekend.
Burgers, better with Pepsi.
When it comes to living life wide open, the Seaboys know performance is key. Whether it's on the road or off it, they count on Firestone tires to keep them going. When buying tires or adding some style, they know exactly where to head. OK Tire and Service. With expert technicians, friendly customer service, and a large selection of Firestone tires. Make the rest a no-can-do with OK Tire.
This one's for every sports fan who just spent the entire game explaining to someone the entire game. You've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar.
And welcome back to the Bison Basketball Show. Coach, Summit League preseason poll was released a few weeks back. Your team right near the top as always. High expectations as we talked about year in and year out. And this is one of the best mid-major basketball leagues in the country every season.
Huge fan of those preseason polls, Jeff. But we're excited. I know it's something to get the excitement going for the fans, and I figured kind of where we'd be. South Dakota State, we return everybody like us. When you got a guy like Max Asmus coming back for Oral Roberts, they're going to be right there in the mix. And then you can just see some teams that are good programs, right? The interesting one to me is Western Illinois, Jeff, and I know that might sound crazy because they haven't been in the mix, late, but continuity in college basketball in this day and age is a big thing, and I think you're going to see that. Then you got a new head coach at Denver, welcoming St. Thomas to the league, but we're excited about where we're at because, again, I think it's still not that you need any extra motivation, but it's some motivation to keep this thing going.
Yeah, no disrespect to the teams below the top three, but the top three, in my opinion, could do some damage if they get the right matchups. That's a long way down the road, late in the year. How does it compare to what you have seen around the league in your career? Yeah,
and I get and respect that narrative a lot, Jeff, just by the continuity within those programs, in particular the top two, us and South Dakota State. And Max Asmus is, preseason All-American, not just a preseason Summer League guy. But I think you got to make sure that, Billy Donlan at UMKC can coach. Those guys are going to play really hard. So top to bottom, especially when you're on the road, you're going to get challenged, and that's important for us to understand.
All right, as well, you take a look at the individuals, and Rocky Cruiser, Sam Griesel, first team all Summit League performers right there, Coach. That's a heck of a group of talent in the Summit League. Also Tyree Edey honored as a second team performer no surprise. Those three guys, big-time players that have played in a lot of huge games for you, and I know they mean a lot to you as well with what they do for your program and around the community.
Yeah, just really happy to see that. Really well-deserved. Obviously, with Rocky on the first team, no surprises there. Excited and encouraged to see Sam's name up there on the board, and I think that speaks to who we are, not just by those two individuals, but us collectively. And I know it's second team, but really happy for Tyree. I think you go back to the way Tyree played in the conference tournament last year, Jeff. The way he played that Sunday in Vermillion before going into that. And we've started to see that version more consistently from Tyree, in practice. But you're right, these are recognitions based on who they are as players. These are terrific representatives of Bison basketball and what I, as the head coach, want us to be about it. And that's tremendous citizens, guys that take care of business in the classroom. And obviously, as you can see with these graphics and who they are and how they're being recognized, not just by us, but amongst their peers within the league. These guys are it, and they've got it all. They do. They've got the character. They've got the work ethic in the classroom, and obviously the talent to be recognized as championship-level caliber players.
Also want to make mention that Rocky Cruiser named to the Lou Henson Mid-Major Award watch list as the top mid-major player in all of mid-major college basketball. That's an impressive nugget there for him, and he's obviously more than deserving of that.
Yeah, I'm knocking on this hard-headed wood here, and that young man stays healthy. I think you're going to see more and more attention coming from Rocky, not just regionally, but nationally as well, and it's well-deserved. When you're 6'10", 240 pounds, and you can do the things that he can do at that size, the way he shoots it, the way he can move, Rocky's got a bright future here with us this year and down the road and playing some professional basketball as well, but we're excited to have him back for another year. And again, a real credit to Rocky. When it comes to development, that's a big piece to what our program's about, Jeff, and Rocky's bought into every single thing that we're about and excited, obviously, to have him back as a leader, but just as much so as a talented player for us.
It's going to be a lot of fun, folks, as the NDSU men get it going. High expectations once again for David Richman's squad here this upcoming season. Coach, appreciate the time. Thank you very much.
It's great to be back, Jeff. Thank
Absolutely.
You.
David Richman, the head coach of the Herd, coming up next. Jory Collins will stop by, talk about high expectations. What a job he and his staff has done with that NDSU women's program. Back with more after this.
Better starts with convenience. Our 43 convenient locations make running errands easy. Better starts with trust. You can trust that your pre-approval is guaranteed on closing day, which is one less thing to worry about. Better starts with saving you money. No ATM fees and no minimum balances mean how you spend your money is up to you. Because at Gate City Bank, better starts with you. And this means better ways to brighten your day. Gate City Bank, for a better way of life.
And welcome back to the Bison Basketball Show. We are excited about what Jory Collins and his staff have brought to the table, changing the culture with NDSU women's basketball, and again, high expectations for the Bison women here in year 3 of the Jory Collins era. Coach, great to have you with us on the show. We appreciate your time. What's this time of year like for you? You've been practicing, I know, for quite a bit. You get on the road this weekend to open up the regular season. I'm sure your team and yourself chomping at the bit.
Yeah, it's obviously the most exciting time of the year, Jeff. I mean, you feel like you've been practicing for weeks and weeks and weeks, and we're just ready to hook it up, against somebody else and go get physical with somebody else and kind of take out some, a months long of practice and just go compete.
Yep. This team, this time of year, Coach, you get a lot of the players back that had a tremendous season a year ago, won a game in the Summit League tournament, and picked third as well here in the Summit League preseason poll. What are you finding out about this group? What would you tell people about what you're seeing from this team early on right now?
Well, I think just some growth individually. Last year we were fairly talented team, but obviously young. That showed up in some big parts and some big games. Having another year together, a year to coach them. The maturity is starting to come a little bit. You can situational awareness, some things that only happen with time are starting to happen for our team, and I think hopefully that puts us into position in some of those close games where we can make the right play.
On the women's side, the Summit League preseason poll released a few weeks ago, and Jory Collins and the NDSU women right near the top, picked third overall behind two programs that everyone is trying to track down in the Summit League, NCAA tournament members, South Dakota and South Dakota State. The Summit League has turned into a two-bid league here over the last couple of seasons, Coach. And I know you're climbing the ladder. You're feeling better and better about how your program is continuing to compete against those two and the rest of these squads in Summit League women's basketball.
Yeah, I mean, it's a terrific women's basketball conference. There's no denying, South Dakota and South Dakota State have been the cream of the crop there for a long time, and obviously we're not banking on those guys getting any worse, so it's our responsibility to keep getting better and improving. And, preseason polls are what they are.
We love them. Media guys love them, Coach.
You guys love them. But, I think it is a sign, obviously, that we're growing as a program and the expectations are changing for us, and not just from us, but the people that get to play against us as well.
Yep. One young lady who has caught the eyes and the hearts and the attention of Bison fans and Bison Nation, the way she plays and the way she can shoot it. Heaven Hamling honored a second-team preseason All-Summit League performer. A lot of confidence this young woman has, right? She wants the ball in big-time situations, and she's made some huge shots for you here.
She has. She was, had a great season last year. High expectations for herself, high expectations from us. Her teammates believe in her. The one thing I will always say about Heaven, probably her #1 attribute, is just the joy that she plays the game with. It's infectious. She loves to practice. She loves to play. No moment's too big for her. So we're excited about her growth, and she just has an infectious personality about the game that really reflects on our whole team.
I think about to the UND game up there as we're seeing some of these highlights where she hit just a massive step back triple from the left wing late in the game to help propel you to a victory. As an individual player, from your perspective, Coach, what are her next steps forward for you this season?
Well, her situational awareness, time and score. Every once in a while, Heaven would tell you, hey, maybe I took that a little quick, or just saw an opening and the situation maybe wasn't the right thing. I think that experience in those situations, end of clock, end of quarter, all those kind of things are areas we've talked about with her here in the off season, and she's going to have the ball in her hands, a whole bunch for us. She's going to get guarded multiple ways. People are going to double her off every ball screen just to get it out of her hands. So her ability to just kind of roll with the punches on how people are being specific against her and be able to counter that is going to be her next step.
Going back to the conversation, the discussion about climbing the ladder in this conference and tracking down those top two. When you think about how you do that, how you take your next steps forward as a basketball program, what are the first things that come to mind on the floor with your team about how you close the gap and continue to get where you want to go?
Yeah, I think, #1 is skill development with our own players. How much can we help those guys improve? How willing are they to work to improve individually? As a team, we were a fairly good offensive team last year. I'm a defense and rebounding guy by nature, and we haven't played very good defense here our last 2 years, or at least what our standards are going to be. So that end of the floor is an area that's a work in progress for us, but we're starting to add some athletes. We're starting to add some length. That versatility on the defensive end allows you to do some different things, and hopefully for us, we'll take another big jump on that end of the floor this year.
Yep. Coming up next on our Bison Basketball Show, Coach and his young ladies, they want to play somebody else. They're tired of practicing. They're going to open up on the road in the state of Wisconsin this upcoming weekend. We'll talk about that when we return.
Another rock and roll weekend.
Burgers, better with Pepsi.
Better starts with convenience. Our 43 convenient locations make running errands easy. Better starts with trust. You can trust that your pre-approval is guaranteed on closing day, which is one less thing to worry about. Better starts with saving you money. No ATM fees and no minimum balances mean how you spend your money is up to you. Because at Gate City Bank, better starts with you. And this means better ways to brighten your day. Gate City Bank, for a better way of life.
Get the peace of mind you deserve with a GM certified pre-owned vehicle from Luther Family Buick GMC. Each certified vehicle passes every detail of a rigorous 172-point inspection before hitting our lot. Plus, take advantage of free maintenance visits and a 6-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. And if you don't absolutely love it, bring it back. Stop in to Luther Family Buick GMC today on the corner of I-29 and 32nd Avenue South, Fargo. We are professional grade.
This one's for every sports fan who just spent the entire game explaining to someone the entire game. You've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar.
And welcome back to the Bison Basketball Show. The NDSU women opening things up this weekend, Thursday taking on Milwaukee, and then up the road on Saturday afternoon to take on the young ladies from Green Bay. Coach, I know you're ready to play a basketball game. How excited are you to stop practicing against each other and getting out on the road, getting with your team, and throwing it out there and seeing what happens for real for the first time this upcoming weekend?
You know, Jeff, we're ready. We're ready to get into a scouting report, start doing some specific prep for a team. A tough weekend for us, obviously. You know, Milwaukee's a tremendous club, won 20 games last year. Green Bay is a perennial, very good mid-major team. So to have to go get those guys both on the road opening weekend, I think they're both picked second and third, respectively, in their league. So we'll get to find out about us here pretty quickly. It's, you know, that's what you want to do. Our schedule's a little tougher this non-con, but those are the expectations we have for ourselves. And we want to go get measured early and often and see where we're at and get prepared for Summit League play.
Yeah, play some really good games at home as well at the Shield Center inside the Sanford Health Athletic Complex. Seeing last year's highlights at the Shack where weird schedule. I think you're supposed to go out there initially, and then they came back here to Fargo with all the weird stuff going on with COVID. You faced them in a doubleheader in back-to-back days, and you're able to have a lot of great success early in the season last year. What did that period tell you about your team with those wins?
Well, to be honest, we went into last year at the beginning. I didn't really know what we were going to be. We played really well at home against UNI in our home opener, and then had Green Bay coming in. And our first game with those guys was a 59-51 kind of knockdown, drag out. Both teams were feeling themselves out, and the second day we found out about our team last year. They really responded from the one day to the next day, and we played a lot better on our second day, almost in every game last year in conference play. But it started with Green Bay there early in the year, trying that back-to-back. Made some good adjustments, played really well on the second day. And we're able to get those guys. It'll be a different story, obviously, this weekend. I know we're not going to sneak up on them. They'll be prepared for us. And you know, we're going to have to go try to do the same thing on the road.
Personnel-wise, both teams, Milwaukee and Green Bay, obviously you start with Milwaukee first. They're pretty similar to what you saw a year ago as far as getting ready.
They have a lot of kids back. They did graduate. You know, maybe second leading scorer, leading rebounder, a really good four-man. But their post player is a mid-major, top 25 kid. She's dynamite. They're terrific on the defensive end. They actually play very similar to us offensively. So that'll be something we'll have to feel out in that particular game. Green Bay's a little bit similar. You know, both teams aren't probably as fast-paced as we would like to play, but just really physical, sturdy defense and rebounding. You know, those will be hard-fought games on the road.
7 p.m. Central tip on Thursday night, and then Saturday afternoon, 1 p.m. Central during the middle of the football game. But we'll have it for you, obviously, and let you know what's going on, what's shaking with NDSU taking on Green Bay. Let's talk about some of your returners before we wrap up here. Obviously, players that have understood what you expect in your culture, your leaders, Emily Dietz, Renia Hopkins, Katie Deaton, Abby Schulte, I know, got it going for you as a freshman last year and really emerged right away. How have those returners been able to instill what you want in your culture and your program here so far?
Yeah, I mean, that's what's allowed us to have you know, a good jump here from 1 to 2 is people like Emily Dietz, Ryan Cobbins. When your best players are also your hardest workers, I think, you know, that's a cliche thing everybody talks about, but it's also so true. They show up every day and really, really work. And that's why everybody else on our team falls in line and really wants to be at that level of a teammate, as a competitor, all those things. Our young players, Abby Schulte, who you mentioned, Katie Deaton, have taken big jumps. I'm just, like we said, we're ready to get out there and play and let those guys show what they've been working on.
Yep, Ryan, it's fun to watch her. You can see it every year with her, how she continues to develop and add things to her game.
Yeah, she's somebody who we've asked to do multiple positions. You know, she came in as a freshman, really was a 4 in high school, more of an in-the-block player. We put her on the perimeter for all 30 games as a freshman, made some tremendous growth. Last year she started at the 3. We had an injury and then finished starting at the 4. You know, that's where she'll be the start of this year, so excited about her growth, too.
Yep, we can't wait. Coach, thanks so much for the time. Best of luck this weekend in Wisconsin.
Thanks, Jeff.
There you go. That's the head coach, Jory Collins, and you've been locked into our Bison Basketball Show. We wish both the men and women all the best here this season. Thank you for watching.
The Bison Basketball Show on WDAY Extra.